But let's get to the WNBA because over the weekend we had the All-Star Game, and it was very much so that star-studded. Friday they had the skills contest, and Saturday was the game, Team Collier versus Team Clark. But it was Sabrina Ionescu who came home with her second WNBA three-point contest championship to kick off the weekend. She went 30 for 40 possible points. Isn't that wild? Like 30 three-pointers.
I couldn't imagine even being able to attain that.
I think in my career, high school, middle school, and college, I had 33s total, but she totaled 37 points in her competition in 2023, so not the same, but still an incredible feat, and for her to be able to get that second championship is incredible. And then also her New York teammate, Napheesa Collier, came home with the skills competition, so New York really taking it home.
Oh yeah, and I feel like that's going to be something that they carry into kind of momentous moments in this season. I've talked about kind of like how you can draw from the Olympic break, and sometimes all-star stuff, we kind of minimize it, you know what I mean? But like with the way that things are picking up in the WNBA, like that could be a moment that New York is like, hey, we just won it. We're showing you guys that we have this individual skill set to just bring into a team environment and like go for another push.
Like look who we got. And also,
exactly,
there's a lot of money on the line, okay? So this was an amazing moment.
Are those your money signs,
These are my money signs. Yeah, I kind of put these up a little lower than the table, but yeah, these are my money signs. There was an amazing moment. Sienna Citron from the Washington Mystics was one of the only rookies in this competition, and Sabrina Ionescu had a really cool moment, so you have to hear what Sabrina Ionescu did.
Well, I told Sonia that I would give her half if I won when we were sitting on the bench as being like the only rookie, and you know, she was nervous and I was nervous for her, like, you know, and so I obviously have to hold up my end of the bargain, so half is going to go to her. I got to text her and let her know that I'm going to give her half of it just for participating. Like, that takes a lot of courage to be able to do that as a rookie, and what she did, and I was really proud of her. And then the other half will go to my foundation to continue to be able to give back in communities that mean a lot to me.
Okay, so do you think she jokingly said it? Like, yeah, I'll give you half, or was like, no, like, I'm going to give you half?
I don't know. It felt like she really wanted to give her half. But then
she was like, I got it. Like, my hands are tied. I got to give you half.
Maybe it was one of those moments where, like, you know, when you offer somebody something, they're like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. You're like, okay, I won't worry about it. Like, maybe Sabrina's okay.
No, this was definitely absolutely happening. But I love that she also gave the other half to her foundation, which is just so cool to see these players really give back in the special moment. But she was also wearing her Bring the Heat shoes. It was like that one color wave that she has in her own shoe. And I'm like, man, we talked about this with Halliburton throughout the NBA playoffs. Like, what a perfect way to market your own brand. I mean, come on. If I'm anybody, I'm throwing on those.
And then to talk about Bring the Heat, and I mean, what did she do? She brought the heat when it came to loading up on three-pointers and making it look easy. I'll never get over that. It's not an easy feat. And I had a feeling, I was hoping that she was going to return to the crowndom. Is that a word? Like, take the crown back?
Make it.
I'm going to make it one. That she was going to take the crown back when it came to the three-point competition. So I was psyched for her to do that, but able to have like the display for her shoes at the same time.
Definitely. And a couple weeks ago on this show, we were talking about how Kelsey Plum helped Sarah Ashley Barker on the Sparks get some of Sabrina's shoes. And so, Sarah, if you're listening, all right, throw those shoes on, girl.
Could you, and then by the way, your marketing assistants, just help us out, help you also. Like, I feel like we could dress it up and market it accordingly.
100%.
Yeah, I trust us.
I love it. Well, before we get to the actual game, there were some special rules for the All-Star Game that definitely shows how the league is trying to make this more entertaining and really an event. So the four big new rules were there's a 4-point shot, which really reminded me of that Caitlin Clark commercial that's like from the Target. You're shooting from the Target, because you look at the photo of that, and I think we have it here, but pretty wild how far out that 4-pointer was. They shortened the shot clock to 20 seconds, live play and subbing, which is like hockey and lacrosse. So how do you feel about that?
You touched right on exactly where I was going. Like the live play, being able to pick up the pace and things and move it around, because we talk about like how clear some of these players are, like very strategic, very tactical, very cerebral. Like when the pace picks up on certain things, like to see how the decision making how you can pick up and how quickly you can translate your game, like that's going to be fun. And of course, we all know I live off of that, so I'm going to be looking forward to that. But like a 4-point, like that's wild. That's skill to a whole different degree.
Well, it was also probably hard for the players too to adjust to the live subbing, because I know when I would go from basketball season into lacrosse season, like, wait, what's going on? Like it's
going to open communication. Like it's going to force a different communication style. It's going to open that up, and then I mean you're going to have to learn how to get to the point in a number of ways and trust it. So the trust process process is going to change, the communication style is going to change, the pace picking up is going to all obviously show like, okay, who's constantly in that tactic state of mind.
Right, and they also changed to no free throws until the end of the game, which I thought was really smart because you do want it to be fast. You do want it to feel different than a normal game.
Yeah, that's true, and that can be a complete difference of it. I mean, look, if anything's close by and you're like, wait a minute, both of us have a couple more points on the line here, like you're not breathing until that final buzzer for real this time.
No, well, the thing that really stood out besides the changes in the game were the shirts that the players wore. They came out into the game with these shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Shirts that really represented what these players have been fighting for. And the players after, really as a general consensus, felt like, yeah, our mission was accomplished because the fans in the stands started chanting, pay them. And I think for the WNBA athletes, like that's really what they want, is they want that public sense of pride and that public ovation really to come around them.
Well, I'm so glad that you started with that, getting the public on board, because of course when you do anything that requires any sort of statement, right? The t-shirts were a statement. You're going to set a fire to social media. And part of that fire were people just kind of challenging either the worth of the sport, the worth of the professional league, and you have to open the conversation to educate yourself. So for the amount of people that feel like WNBA is still kind of in this slow crawl to have the proper investment behind it, to pay these players accordingly, to get the right eyes on it, you got responses that really educated fans across all social media platforms to say, actually, viewage percentage has gone up. These faces are now becoming more recognizable. And if they're becoming more recognizable, if they're inspiring the next generation, if college basketball is getting more eyes on it because more women are trying to go into the WNBA and keep women from going overseas to play and establishing their careers here, there is worth behind that, which means the penny now has to make sense. So they opened a conversation that needs a lot more voices in it and a lot more voices with the right education and direction behind it.
Right, and I think it's important for people to realize that like we're all human, right? The
Yeah.
WNBA commissioners and everyone on her team, like they're all human, and public pressure is real. And so I think the players were recognizing, hey, like we're gonna use this all-star opportunity to really make it as public as we can that this is a priority for us.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like them coming together and doing it. You can't just be like, oh my gosh, it's so-and-so who always has something to say. Or, you know, Caitlin Clark has been weathering a lot of different criticism as of late. And we talked about her mentioning on like, what was it, her live Instagram, and she was like, you know, NBA, like how do we make more in the WNBA or less in the WNBA finals? So everyone coming together, like you can't isolate a voice and say, oh, this is just this personality doing this. Like, I think it emphasizes how important it is to actually have this conversation with an open mind and like a realistic perspective.
Yeah, and that's not an easy thing to organize. Like I would love to know like how they went about getting the shirts out.
Who printed the shirts?
Hey, but yeah, who printed the shirts? Like you know that was gonna be Twitter leaked or something. I mean, also like, hey, everyone's gotta wear it. Like that's also part of this whole thing too. So like, you know, cheers to them for being able to pull that off, because it's definitely not an easy thing, but you need leaders like Napheesa Collier and Caitlin Clark and Breanna Stewart who are out there really advocating for the WNBA, who are also succeeding at what they're doing. Like I think as much as you want to say, yeah, anyone obviously has a voice, like it helps so much when you are dominating on the court. And that's what I think I've so respected about Napheesa Collier. She's out there saying, hey, we want to keep our women in the WNBA in the States. Like we don't want them to have to go play overseas. We'll bring you unrivaled. Like she was really the leader in this whole unrivaled league, and for her to be able to do that and then get, you know, MVP of this game and MVP of basically everything else, like it's really impressive. And I think it matters when you are trying to be that activist face for your league.
Yeah, I think the timing of it too is like, it matters tremendously, because some people, I mean, you and I have to keep a close eye on everything going on with the WNBA, but if we touch back to like in between the Unrivaled series and shortly after it wrapped up, what were we seeing? Rumors of a potential holdout, and we were seeing like Angel Reese use her podcast to be like, you know, there's going to be a call to action here. Like we deserve more. And then, as you talked about, keeping women, giving them the opportunity to play in the States and not have to go elsewhere to have a career and take that next step. So, I mean, all signs have been pointing north. We knew that something along these lines were going to come. I love that they were able to keep it a surprise because it emphasizes the conversation. But yeah, I just wonder, everyone whose hand was in the mix, they did a very great job of keeping it super hush, because this was a surprise in a number of ways.
No, I loved it, and I think that just shows you like the level of like severity that they're taking with this, right? Like it's not something that's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna throw on these shirts, you'll see them, like make sure we have cameras out. Like they had a plan in place, and I thought it was very well executed. But there's some more exciting news in the WNBA, because we had some of it in our very own backyard, TD Garden, last week. The Indiana Fever took on the Connecticut Sun. It was a sold-out crowd, 19,000 fans for the WNBA's second ever game at the Garden. Jaylen Brown showed up. We had the Boston Legacy making an appearance, making sure to give a little handshake to Aaliyah Boston, the new investor of the new NWSL team in Boston. So did this give you a little bit of a glimpse into what it might look like to have a WNBA team here in Boston?
Big time, because the show out was tremendous, and like you mentioned it, a few like athletes, like figureheads that we know in the professional sports realm, but I mean there were all sorts of celebrities that showed up for this, and they didn't do it to save face. I mean, some of them you didn't even realize were there until after the fact when they posted a quick picture or like got caught up in the background of a picture. So I think it really highlighted the excitement and like the rally if like a WNBA sports team or basketball team couldn't be here, and everyone that was interviewed around the game and stuff like that, like it wasn't just like a show up and then the crowd thinned out. Like it was an intense game. Everybody was like very invested and just high on it after the fact. And like Barstool Sports, like they took to social media after to be like, this is exciting. Like we love watching this. We're not just watching this to put on a face. Like I'm invested. I pay attention. So I feel like Boston would really lose it if like, I don't know, A team
Hey, we never know.
Gets to get into the mix.
We've done the expansion shows. Maybe we'll have like a breaking news.
Yeah, I know. I hope we get that.
I hope we do.
And a light and a button.
No, I have serious FOMO though because I've been out of town for both of these games at TD. I'm like, man, like it's gonna take another year for me to get there. So maybe we'll have a pop-up, playoff neutral site. I don't know.
I was devastated because like last minute I had a friend reach out and be like, do you want to go? And I'm like, I do want to go.
Yeah.
I also have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning for Boston to enter the chat. So Travis and I got to pretend like we were there, live vicariously since we were like on little sleep the next morning.
Hard work.